I hope y'all doing well. I'm gonna try to make this quick because I don't know how much storage I got, and this thing be bugging out. But I wanted to talk about how we are time travelers and how we often rob ourselves of the present moment by thinking about the future or the past too much. In life, we often use the present moment to take ourselves out of the present moment. When we dwell too much on the past, we experience depression. When we dwell too much on the future, we experience anxiety. Now, even though the only moment that exists is the present moment, when we recall memories from the past, our body and our mind travels to the past, right? So things that no longer exist, but when we think back that happened years ago, we still feel real feelings in this present moment. And that's what I mean by us being time travelers, is with our minds. When we dwell too much on the past, we literally travel to the past, right? And then when we dwell too much on the future, we get anxiety because, oh, it's the unknown. We don't know what it's going to look like, or, whatever the case is. But the past can inform our decisions that we make in the present moment. And the present moment is the only thing that is going to create the future. So the moment that means the most is the present moment. You know what I'm saying? And that we should only learn from the other moments. We shouldn't, beat ourselves up in those other moments. So, we need to, what does it say? Hold on, I got notes. We often use it. So yeah, we a time traveler. We need to be aware of where we're putting our attention when it comes to these thoughts. You feel me? And understanding that the present moment is really a gift, and that the present moment is what builds our future moments. And every time that we spend a lot of time taking ourselves out of the present moment, is the more time that we essentially take ourselves out of whatever future we're trying to build. You feel me? And I need us to understand the power of our minds and how we can literally time travel just by the thoughts that we choose to entertain or not, And I don't want to say the past and the future, we shouldn't acknowledge them, because like I said, we can learn from the past that can inform our present decisions. But we should we need to be mindful and aware of whether we're using those thoughts in a productive way or a not productive way. You know what I'm saying? If we just looking at the past to feel regret, right? It's not really a helpful thing. But if we using the past to learn from our mistakes, I'm never gonna do that again, or the next time I do this, I know how to do it properly this time. I think that's how we should use the past, in a healthy way. We should use these moments in healthy ways, not unhealthy ways. And for the future, we shouldn't for future, I think it's cool to have bigger picture, because I think it's important to know where it is that you want to go, right? But at the same time, the future could be overwhelming because it's not quite here yet, if that makes sense, in the present moment. So we might be like, oh my God, like, I don't know what that's gonna look like, blah, 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 you know? Rather than using the future as, you know, this is what it's gonna look like. Here's the bigger picture I'm after. And then once we have that bigger picture and we're using the future in a healthy way and not a, oh my God, it's unknown and I'm so overwhelmed, but almost the future as this is the bigger picture, this is the end goal, we can reverse engineer to see how in the present moment we can get to the future, you know, that we want to get to. And it's very important that we become aware of just how much time and focus and attention we are giving on the moments outside of the present moment, and what type of energy are we giving to those moments, you know? Is it a learning lesson? Are we trying to use these moments positively, or are we trying to use these moments negatively, like beat ourselves up because we won't forgive ourselves for past things, or we won't act because we're too paralyzed by what the future look like? So I just want you to understand the power of your mind, and how even though the only moment that exists is the present moment, we are still time travelers based on what thoughts we give attention to and what thoughts we choose to entertain. So when you think about the past, don't beat yourself up. You know what I'm saying? Just learn from it. And when you think about the future, don't get too overwhelmed. Just paint that picture that you want to see right now in the present moment. And yeah, man, this is something that I had to kind of realize, because I was so like bent up on the past at times. And it was really bringing me down, because it's like I was beating myself up over some shit that I can never change. Like, I can't go back in the past and change whatever mistakes I made. So there's no sense in putting all my focus on attention on being like, well, damn, I shouldn't have did that, or blah, 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 blah. It's like, it's already done and over with. Like, you got to move on. Like, what are you going to do now? Not what did you, you know, do back then. And then the future, yeah, it's just like, when there's an infinite amount of possibilities, you might get overwhelmed, because it's like, yo, whoa, the future, you know, it's unknown. It's like, boom. But when you really go within yourself and see what it is that you want your future to be, and not what people are telling you to be or want you to be, you know? Like, do I see myself living in a big city? Am I that type of person? Or do I see myself more like countryside, low key, you know what I'm saying? Slower paced town rather than a big city like LA or New York? Do I see myself in a slower paced state like, you know, Georgia, or tucked off, where people are more spread out and it's not as compact, you know? And once you have a bigger picture on the future you want, it helps you be less overwhelmed, because you have a better idea of where you're going, you know? It's like going into a grocery store and you don't know what you need, but you just going to like get stuff, but you don't know what you need, right? It's like you're gonna be in that motherfucker overwhelmed. There's hella products, hella things. But when you go in there and you got a list and you know what you need, it's easy to go in there and not be too overwhelmed, because you, boom, I need paper towels, I need this, I need that, woo, woo, woo. So, yeah, man, that's all I wanted to say, is that we are time travelers, so be very aware of where you're putting your focus and attention, and use the past as and the future as tools to help the present moment. Don't use the past as an excuse to beat yourself up, and don't use the future as an excuse to just stay paralyzed and not act on what it is you know you need to act on. So yeah, that's the message for today. It's kind of choppy, but it is what it is. It's raw, and we're gonna keep it like that. So till next time, peace, have a good day.